Okay.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. This is John Walton from the City of San Francisco. We're going to do some introductions here. The phone line's open right now. I'm going to speak for a few minutes. I'm going to hand it off to Gail Thomas Flynn from Microsoft. Then she's going to hand it off to Sean McCarthy from IDC. After that, we'll open up the lines for just a more roundtable conversation and questions. But if you could keep your phones muted for a few minutes until we're done with some opening remarks, I think that'll just make it more convenient for everybody to hear some of the comments before we get started. Is that okay? So, thank you everybody for coming today. We really appreciate you folks being here. We're very pleased to announce that we've signed a contract with Microsoft that over the next 12 months we're going to be rolling out the entire city on the Microsoft BPOS platform. A new email system will be in place then for all the city users, state of the art. We're very excited about this opportunity. We're excited not just about the email, but really what it means for the future of the city, where we're going over the next 5 years. As many of you know, tomorrow we'll be releasing our first 5-year strategic IT plan for the city. This is one of the key projects, one of really the key initiatives that we're focusing on in the city to demonstrate where we want to go over the next 5 years. And we want to thank Gail and Microsoft for being here today and talking a little bit about this project. And with that, Gail, if you want to talk a little bit.
Great. Well, thank you very much to John. I'm hoping everyone can hear us okay on the other side. Thanks so much for joining us as well. And I just want to really say thank you to John and his entire team here in the City and County of San Francisco for this partnership and the tremendous vision that you've shown in terms of the efforts to continue to have a strategic vision for the city and county and in modernizing, and we're happy to be on this journey together in terms of leveraging technology to really improve the services that the city provides to its citizens. So with this opportunity to work together on this innovation in terms of the benefits of cloud computing to over 23,000 municipal city employees migrating from its on-premise solution currently to a cloud-based Exchange Online solution that will deliver better functionality, agility, as well as effectiveness for the city and county. So we're really excited to be entering into this partnership with San Francisco. Thank you, John. So with that, I'll hand it over to John McCarthy from IDC.
Hi, thank you very much. This is Sean McCarthy from IDC Government Insights. They just asked me to weigh in a little bit about what's going on in government with cloud computing right now. Basically, I'm sure that most of the people on this call have certainly heard of cloud computing and the directions that it is taking government, private industry, et cetera. And a lot of the talk has been on the potential for reducing costs, et cetera. I agree with that. Did want to point out, though, that really what I see in cloud services is that it gives government the potential to kind of relieve government IT departments of the need to maintain multiple systems. Many have traditionally had a system in every department, an email system in every department, et cetera. And while every department needs email, every department doesn't necessarily need to maintain their own email server. The same goes with other things that they're doing, too, and I expect cloud to continue to grow for solutions such as human resources management, maybe financial transaction processing, et cetera. When you maintain multiple servers, each needs upgrades, the patches, configuration management, et cetera. Moving the common systems that are in all agencies lets those IT managers in government kind of focus on what is core to their mission and not in getting away from the systems that are common and shared across all agencies. And also for the individual departments, let them leapfrog, to the latest software, hardware. If they have a system that's getting older, it gives them a chance to move to the latest and greatest without putting a lot of new effort and new software into the solutions that they have now. And then system maintenance, backup, et cetera, becomes the responsibility of the system service provider in the cloud, and again, lets people move out to the core competency. This approach isn't new. It's not unique to San Francisco. Los Angeles has moved its email. New York City is moving some of its software solutions to the cloud. And in fact, the CIO for the federal government, Vivek Kundra, has ordered all agencies to use a cloud-first policy when they're seeking new software and new systems. So getting common, standardized solutions from a common platform in the cloud is definitely the wave of the future, and certainly, San Francisco going down this path is making a choice that is becoming more and more popular with government entities. And so again, I just wanted to weigh in with that, and happy to see it. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Sean. So with that, we can open up for questions. Folks on the phone, if you have some questions for us, we're happy to answer those. Anyone in the audience that would like to ask some questions, we're happy to answer those as well. So with that, any questions from the group? Someone in the audience there? What? If you folks can hang on the phone, we have one person in the audience first, and then we'll get to the folks on the phone in just a minute.
And people listening on conference call, mute.
What was the value of the contract, and how much does it make you save by going to cloud solution versus
This contract, we're going to be paying Microsoft right around $1.2 million a year for all 23,000 users in the city. That pencils out to approximately about $6.50 per month per user. That is a significant savings to the city, and as a matter of fact, was one of the key ways that the Department of Technology was able to achieve its 20% budget reduction target for this fiscal year, which was directed from the mayor's office. So the importance, I think, one thing I'd like to stress about cost is there's two things. One, the city's currently operating 7 email systems across the city. So there's, as the gentleman from IDC mentioned, there's some inherent costs and support, hardware, software, infrastructure to run multiple email systems and the staff support associated with managing all those systems. Additionally, not only are we saving money by going to this new system, we're actually really gaining significant capabilities. We are, again, leapfrogging to a newer version of the technology that's much more easily integrated into where we're going from a technology vision for the future. And frankly, the thing I see as the CIO for the city that we're really cognizant of is it creates what I consider a disaster resilient solution to a challenge we faced in cities that's not easy to address. Typically in cities, we are able to budget for maintaining the system we have in-house, the premise-based system, but the disaster solution for systems tends to be not as up-to-date or as disaster-ready as we like. And by going to a cloud-based solution like the online exchange solution, even if we have a large disaster in San Francisco, we like to know that our emails are protected, our data is protected, that our users will be able to access and continue to use email from anywhere in the world at any time, which we think is a significant improvement to the public, how we can respond before, during, and after a disaster to continue to provide good public service. We see email as one of those key systems that's really critical to providing good public service. On the phone, questions?
Hi, this is Sharon Chan from the Seattle Times. Can you hear me?
We can.
Thanks for taking my question. I want to ask whether San Francisco considered Google in its RFP process, and if it did, why it chose Microsoft over Google.
Sure. We actually considered Lotus Notes. We looked at the Google solution and we looked at the Exchange solutions. We had a very, what we call our architecture group, which is made up of CIOs around the city, look at all 3 solutions and went through a several-year process of considering the technologies that underline each of the solutions, the benefits to the city. And at the end of the conversation, it was unanimous between all the CIOs in the city that the Exchange platform was the city we wanted to adopt for a lot of reasons. But the one I'd like to stress the most, for us at least, in making this decision, was we have a strategic vision for the city of where we want to be over the next 5 years. And the Exchange solution for us fit very well in where we are going in terms of our Office products, what we like to use for Microsoft Word and Excel and PowerPoint. We have a very robust SharePoint environment in the city where a lot of departments have adopted and are starting to use SharePoint. We're starting to rapidly deploy applications now on the Azure platform and starting to leverage that. So when it came down to an email solution, we didn't see it as a point decision where we were just making a decision about email. I think the CIOs took into consideration the fact that it was an email solution that had to be complementary to all the other objectives we were trying to achieve in the city. And I think at the end of the day, all things being considered, that was really the thing that made the decision for Exchange the right decision for our city, is that we really see it as the best fit technologically about where we're going over the next 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Other questions from folks on the phone or the audience?
This is Nancy Goring from IDG News Service. I was just wondering, Microsoft had a couple of outages last week with its hosted Exchange service, and I'm wondering if you have concerns in that regard in terms of moving from the cloud to reliability of service.
Sure. Just for the audience, in case you didn't hear that really well, the question was, do we have concerns about the recent outage that Microsoft reported on its website about the online service? And of course we do. I mean, our job is to provide email service to our customers here in the city in as a high availability situation as we can. The reality of it for us is that email outages, unfortunately, are not something that haven't happened to us before. So frankly, this isn't the first email outage the city has experienced in the past. I've been here for 3 years now. We actually see what happened last week with the Microsoft outage as really demonstrating why we think we made the right decision. We were able to have a single point of contact. Microsoft kept us very up to speed on what was causing the email delays. We were in close contact with them. We lost no messages. I mean, granted, there was some delivery problems for a while, but when the issue was resolved and when we started receiving the email again, it only impacted us for about 4 hours. Again, since nothing was lost, it was perceived as a delay by our users. There was a single message we could provide out to our users of the system at that time. In the past, when we've had outages, it was a complex problem to solve. You had 7 systems. If the outage happened in the evening, you were calling workers back in. With the Microsoft solution, they're available 24/7 to us to answer all of our questions. Obviously, they're very proactive about addressing the issue. And for me, because I come from the private sector in a previous life and now work in the public sector, the thing as a central IT department that our customers have always expressed a concern about is we come to the central IT department for service, and yet we want some assurance of a service level agreement, of performance. We want to know what we get for our money. And this is a great way in working with Microsoft. We can say, sure, we have a service level agreement. We did realize an interruption in service, and now we're working with Microsoft to see service credits for that time. And for us, that really closed the loops in terms of what our customers expect. They expect good service, they expect to be kept up to speed on when there's impact to their service, and they expect some type of resolution at the end of it about what happened, how it's going to be prevented from happening in the future, and some type of benefit to the service impact. So I don't know if Microsoft wants to...
Sure, this is Gail Thomas from Microsoft, and I just want to thank you for those comments and just echo that this is something that we take very seriously as a provisioner of service to both enterprise and government customers. We responded very quickly, and again, I think the issue with Microsoft is you are working with a trusted partner in the enterprise space and ensuring that we respond quickly, and we have, as you mentioned, 24/7 support to proactively communicate about these issues and then take corrective measures, to respond. So we're working in partnership, and we'll be there to support San Francisco and, again, in this partnership going forward.
Hi, this is Liz Montalbano from Information Week. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Okay, hi. Hi, thanks for taking my question. I have a quick question. Actually, I have a couple of questions. One is you're paying Microsoft, so this is going to be hosted in Microsoft's data center, correct?
That is correct. It will be hosted in Microsoft's data centers.
Okay, and also, you mentioned the entire BPO. Can you elaborate a little bit? Because the press release said hosted Exchange online, but I was just wondering what other aspects of the suite you'll be using and how that will look.
Sure, I can talk about it a little bit, and then Microsoft can talk maybe more about their strategic. I mean, when we signed the contract for the city, it was initially envisioned that we're looking for a replacement for our existing email system. So this initial contract is really just for email services and archiving services, which we are paying Microsoft for through this contract. But the benefit we see of working with Microsoft is that we have the option in the future to start looking at additional consolidation opportunities like SharePoint, like instant messaging, like video conferencing and other things that we're very interested in the city that we haven't yet deployed, but this creates for us the foundation, the core of the system that we could expand in the future when we get done with the email migration to provide enhanced services to our users.
Exactly. We're starting with the effort that John described in terms of the modernization and consolidation with email and progressing that to the cloud. And over time, we have the opportunity to consider additional areas of cloud provisioning as well. And certainly, that's been one of the key areas with many of our customers in state and local government. The consideration of what is the breadth and depth of the technology vendors and technology partners that they're looking to partner with. And certainly having, not only software provisioned as a service, but also infrastructure as a service and platform as a service with offerings like Windows Azure in the cloud, represent the breadth and depth of what we have in terms of technology offerings to look and explore many other ways of innovation with the city here in terms of what other things we could look to take to the cloud as well in the future.
Great. Was that?
Hi, this is David Sarno from the Los Angeles Times. I was wondering if the San Francisco Police Department and other law enforcement-related agencies will be moving to the system.
We've been in discussions with them. We went through 2 rounds of requirements analysis. Right now, the system, as we see it, meets their requirements. However, we still have some conversations we're having about specific security requirements. We're working with them and Microsoft on that. Again, I'd like to stress, though, that is really one of the reasons we went with this solution, because it provides us options. And we've had conversations with other municipalities who've taken their public safety groups to the Exchange platform. And we think at the end of this project, we'll either be able to host them in the cloud, which is the goal of the project, or if for some unforeseen reason we're not able to do that, we have the option, we have several different options we've talked about to continue to provide them email service that's integrated with our cloud client. So again, it's more than just a single point solution, it's a strategy for us. A lot of those public sector clients have either not had email or have been on an old Lotus Note system that hasn't met their requirements very well. And by going to this new system, they'll either be able to move to this new system, or we'll be able to provide them an alternative that meets all their needs if for some reason they have concerns about it. So we're very pleased with the technology options the system affords us.
Do you have a sense of what the timeline might be of how long it'll take to determine if those agencies will be able to move over?
Sure. Well, it's a 12-month project plan, and to be frank, we've started with the easy departments first. I think we want early successes in the project, so we're starting with departments that are smaller departments that have not had email support in the past or have had very limited email support. We've put the public safety agencies towards the end of the project because we want to demonstrate a track record of success. We want to take the right amount of time to meet with them and address their concerns. We're working in partnership with federal agencies and the state agencies to do that. So right now the project plan is a 12-month project plan.
Hi, this is Jeff Schwartz with Redmond Magazine. I wanted to ask 2 questions. One, if the ultimate goal is to move to Office 365, and B, if the workers will be using the native Outlook client, or will they be using the web client for email?
Sure. So to your 2 questions then, the Office 365 is a good question. We are standardized on Microsoft Office as a product on our desktop. We're large users citywide of Microsoft Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Access. I think, again, in terms of where we're going strategically with this project, I think we are certainly interested in 365 because we have budget challenges here in the city. I think it'll come down to a conversation a lot about cost. Is it more cost effective to take advantage of 365 online versus a desktop approach? We're actually in conversations with Microsoft about a desktop enterprise agreement as well for all the desktop products. So I think we'll be able to to determine from a functionality and from a cost point standpoint if 365 is a good fit for all of our users or maybe a portion of our users. So I think that's really our strategy on 365 is seeing as we roll out email if it makes sense to us operationally. And then you had another part to your question. I'm sorry. What was the
are you going to be? Will most of your workers be using the native Outlook client? I presume they will if you have Office on a desktop. But just wanted to, or will they be using a web client for email?
We encourage them to make the choice of what works best for them. We have some what we consider lightweight users that use email infrequently and use shared computers, and they'll be using the Outlook web client to some degree. But a lot of our users are what we consider power users or high usage users, and we think the thick client is probably a better solution to them. I'll be honest with you, the thing that the people are most excited about is getting email on their phone, since we, as a technology hub here on the West Coast, everyone has iPads and iPhones and every other device known to man. And so the integration, really what we see is the seamless integration between the new email system and all the multiple mobile devices our users use has really been a benefit. Any more questions, or have we? One more.
Hi, John Moore with GCN. I was wondering, were all of the on-premise email servers, were those all Exchange, or was it a mix of vendors? And secondly, I missed the third vendor that you evaluated. So it was Microsoft, Google, and
Lotus.
All the other company.
Lotus Notes.
Notes. Okay.
So the mix in the city right now is we have about 15,000 users using Lotus Notes on two different Lotus Note systems, and the other approximate users are spread across 5 different Exchange premise-based solutions across the city.
And how many people are already using the new hosted service right now?
We have over 300 users on the new hosted that were part of our pilot group that have been in a production mode for about 5 months now, and it's been well received. One more from the audience?
Yeah. I should have identified myself before. I'm Mark Howard with PC Magazine. Kind of an odd question, but did the Terry Childs situation play any role in joining the cloud-based solution?
Well, it's I wouldn't credit it to the Terry Childs situation exactly, but I think it is an important point to make, and I know there's been some stories even as of last night about restitution settlements and things like that with regards to Terry Childs. I would say security is always important when you're looking at any type of solution, and the challenge we face as a government IT workforce is, frankly, because of budget reductions and the strain of the economy, we're facing a reduced workforce year over year. Every year we see our workforce shrink in the city, and yet, understandably, the expectations that we provide robust, accessible, secure systems is what our customers expect from us. And so I think when we look at implementing large-scale enterprise-type systems, one thing we always take into consideration is security. So when we looked at the Microsoft solution, that actually became a very important topic that we went over in a lot of detail. There were a lot of meetings between my chief security officer and the Microsoft security team. We were extremely impressed with the Microsoft security solution as it related to BPOS, with the certifications they have, and the fact that they have clients that have as high, if not higher, security requirements than the city does. And that gave us a level of comfort that we're going to a solution that we could rely on from a security standpoint. And again, back to the partnership, I know the outage is seen as a negative thing, but we know now that we have a partner that when we need to deal with security incidences, when we have questions about security, we have a trusted partner that has a track record of being proactive about addressing security, and we can rely on them to work with us on it.
So our service very much designed from the ground up with security and privacy needs of our customers. And as John mentioned, I mean, we're provisioning for health organizations, financial organizations. I think of GlaxoSmithKline and J.P. Morgan Chase, and other industries, but that have very, very high and stringent levels of privacy and security. In addition, Microsoft has very robust programs aimed at government in terms of our government security programs, where we proactively share security information with our governments around the United States here. So it is paramount to us. It's a pillar of our organization in terms of a core competency of all of our design of our products, and we have, as you mentioned, decades of experience provisioning enterprise customers around the globe with the highest needs of security and privacy.
Okay, back to the phones then. More questions?
Hi, this is Sharon Chan, again at the Seattle Times. Is this going to allow you to reduce headcount in IT? You mentioned some budget issues.
Well, the reality of it is it's going to allow us to continue to provide better service than we provided before, given the fact that our headcount is reducing in the city. I mean, San Francisco, I'm sure, like Seattle and other cities, experiences a headcount reduction every fiscal year that I've been here for the last 3 years. I haven't associated any specific headcount to this project. Really what we're trying to do is continuing to provide good, if not better, services than we've provided before, given the fact that we have fewer staff every year to do it. So again, the Department of Technology, I'm happy to say, this year we've met our 20% reduction target from the mayor's office without proposing a single position reduction. So from our standpoint, the budget challenge can be met in several different ways. It can be met through reduction in employee headcount, through personnel costs. It can also be met through reducing operating costs, license agreements, hardware costs. And to go back to what Sean McCarthy was saying about IDC, when we look at addressing the problem, at least from my perspective as a CIO, my employees are my most valuable asset I have in my department. And I'm reluctant to reduce them when I have other opportunities to save money and improve service. So this is an example where we improved the service, we saved the city money, and we preserved what I think is the core of a good IT workforce here in the city at the same time.
And if I may add more broadly from the Microsoft perspective, is typically what we see is the opportunity to redeploy those resources to work on what I call the higher order mission of government, which is about better servicing citizens in terms of working on line of business solutions where those core competencies really come from government, right? So to be able to offload some of the delivery and storage elements, for example, associated with email in this case, now government employees can focus on some of the higher order mission line of business solutions that are really going to benefit citizens in the city.
Thank you.
More questions? Are we at the end of the question period? Have we worn everyone out with the questions? All right, well, we want to thank everybody today. I know you've taken a lot about your valuable time, so if you have any more questions, feel free to get in touch with us. I know Gail and I and the other folks are available to talk about any other questions you have in more detail. So, again, thank you for your time, and thank you all for coming today.
Thank you, everyone.